Freedom of speech, motherfucker.
I got no strings to hold
Okay.
me down, to make me fret, to
Something for
make
the
me
kids.
frown. I had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me.
Plain.
I got no strings, so I have fun. I'm not tied up to anyone. Take that string, but you can see there are no strings on me. I got no strings, so I have fun. I'm not tied up to anyone. Take that string, but you can see there are no strings on me.
Come on.
No ifs, no buts, no IMF cuts. Fianna Fáil, take a hike, what do we want? Fianna Fáil, take a hike, what do we want? Fianna Fáil, take a hike, what do we want? Fianna Fáil, out of the Dail, what about the bankers? Fianna Fáil, out of the Dail, what about the bondholders? Burn them all! Fianna Fáil, out of the Dail, what about the bondholders? Fianna Fáil, out of the Dail, what about the bankers? No ifs, no buts, no IMF cuts, no ifs, no buts, no ifs, no buts, no ifs, no buts, no ifs, no buts. Fianna Fáil, out of the Dail, what about the bankers? Fianna Fáil, out of the Dail, what about the bankers?
Where is the commitment? Where is the commitment from Fine Gael and Labour who got up and voted against that package today? That when they get into government, they will scrap that deal. Because don't let anybody tell you they can't scrap it. We have not signed a binding international treaty. We found that out over the last couple of weeks when there was questions of legal action and the government told us themselves that it's only a memorandum of understanding. There is no binding contract with the IMF. It is only if our political masters decide to implement it that it will be implemented. So where Enda Kenny or Michael Noonan or Eamon Gilmore or any of the rest of them, when you get up and criticise this government over this deal, where is the commitment that you will scrap it as soon as you're in government? There is no commitment because you have no intention of scrapping that deal, and you have every intention of saying it's out of our hands, we have no choice, we have to implement it. That is the game, the cynical political game that is going on in there, and every single one of them are in on it. And that is part of the answer to the question, why are there not more people on the streets? Why is there not a general strike? Why is there not the mobilisation that everybody in this country wants to see against this unbelievable sellout, against the vicious austerity that was imposed on the most vulnerable in the budget? Everybody wants that mobilisation, and we saw that when 100,000 people came out on the streets Saturday 2 weeks ago. But why is it not sustained? Why is it not escalated to a general strike the way it's been done in Portugal and Greece? Well, the answer is because the leaders of the labour movement in this country are part of the same club. To call the demonstration, be under no doubt about it. We know at the executive of the ICTU they agonised. Most of them didn't want the demonstration, but the only reason they called it was because they knew they would not have not a single shred of credibility left in front of their own members if they weren't seen to do something. So they called it to say, well, we did our best, or you know, nobody's listening, protests don't work. It's a deliberate strategy to demoralise people. That is what they are doing, and we need to understand it clearly. And why are they doing it? Why do the leaders of the labour movement do that? Well, they've had their feet under the table for a long time. David Beck, the head of the ICTU, on the board of the central bank that presided over the deregulation of the financial sector that led to this crisis, or partly led to this crisis in the first place. You couldn't were so angry against the introduction of fees. But when a few students engaged in not a few, about 3,000 or 4,000 students said they were going to do a sit-down, a peaceful, and I want to stress it was a peaceful sit-down. There was no violence on the part of students. They went in and peacefully sat down, as farmers have done, as many others have done on protest time and time again. But they were attacked, and it was a political decision by the government to send them down. I remember the Gardaí who were there. The first one. Where is the commitment? Where is the commitment from Fine Gael and Labour who got up and voted against that package today? That when they get into government, they will scrap.
I'm glad when Richard was mentioning the organisation and these people in the grassroots and the unions and the workplaces and the colleges, that he also mentioned the schools, because our next speaker has taken a break from his revision for his Christmas exams. It's Shane Donnelly, who led the school walkouts in Clondalkin.
Today in Ireland, young people are criminalised by society. We're treated as second-class citizens. We're seen as an easy target by the state for cutbacks. We're seen that we won't fight back. But as you can see in the budget cuts, the minimum wage is reduced, fees are hiked up. The problem is students in this country at second level don't have a union which represents them. Like, the only union we have is ISSU, but when our DáilWars seen striking, they don't give a shit. They're all members of Fianna Fáil, they're all a bunch of gobshites. The man said before me, USI, the leader being a member of Fianna Fáil, this is the problem. People need to take over their unions, people need to, organise all this. Problem is, in Ireland we don't receive a decent education. Our education system doesn't teach the skills that students need. For example, I want to be a psychiatrist. When the fuck am I going to need to know Pythagoras' theorem in maths? For example, someone wants to be a biologist. They don't want to know what happened in 1601 in history. They only want to know science. The thing is, last week in Clondalkin, I just thought, students should be fighting back against these cutbacks. You see it in France, you see it in Germany. The problem is, in Ireland we don't have that political culture. So basically me and a few of the lads from the Students' Council said, well, let's find out about getting the students on strike. But through the research we found student councils aren't even independent. If the principal wants, he can dissolve the unions, and most principals are conservative. We can even see this. The principal in my school was all for me doing the union, but when he noticed that I was serious and I wasn't one of these gobshites from Fianna Fáil, one of the other lads, I pretty much, he actually freaked out. He didn't think I was really going to do this. And I wasn't going to do it because I thought, no one's going to do this. I was too scared to at first because I was being threatened with expulsion. Eventually I got a phone call that the girls in Gloucester Breed were doing it, and that was very sexist to me because I thought, they're not going to do it. They proved me wrong. But the thing is, they rang me, where the hell are you? So we ran down to the PE hall at lunchtime. Me and a few lads stood up on the table, made a speech to the whole school that was in the PE hall. All 600 students marched to the corridors to get out, and then the teachers blocked us. But even then, I'm only finding the story now. Some teachers told the principal he should be ashamed of himself. They marched up to the classroom and said, well, I'm not saying names, but the principal of the school basically was saying, they're basically saying, if I'm blocking students, I'll just end up pushing with the students to get out. Most of those teachers wanted to go on strike with the students, and only now I'm hearing these stories. But the thing is, even at the walkout, 20 students got out in Wild Park, and about 17 showed up at the protest. Now they like to say, young people don't care about cuts, they'll all just go home. But the thing is, I found is, most young people don't know about cuts. When you do tell them, most of them are actually interested. They become political. Even when I left the school, I think the students actually learned about solidarity. Because when I left, students were protesting against me expulsion. And we can see this, one student even contacted me, Stephen Choi. He started a Facebook group to help me. He organised the protest, and I didn't even know the chap. So pretty much, we can see is the principal, he's not even sending me to a board of management meeting now because of all the pressure from people here that are probably contacting the school. All over the Facebook group and over the students protesting, this is the reason. I don't even know if I'm going to be suspended now. But that's what we need is students to organise their own unions, university students, workers. We all need to go on a general strike and take back the state. But that's all I have to say.